Good people. What did Nigerians ever do to you? Like, why do you have such an interesting rap about them? Like, why does everybody just say such interesting and sometimes very mean things about them? Anyway, this video is about the interesting reactions when I told my family and friends that I was marrying a Nigerian. So where do we start? Okay, of course, let me start with friends. So, okay, I won't name names, but there were quite interesting reactions. One of them was like, a Nigerian, are you sure? How now? Like, have you heard about these people? I was like, okay, what? Then, of course, she goes to say, you know, the usual, you know, Nigerians are scammers, you know, Nigerians are, you know, some are cultists. But, you know, there's nothing positive I heard about them other than, of course, they treat women well, right? And, you know, they're fine, you know, they're handsome and all that. But all those things overrode the fact that there was always something negative about them. So I was like, okay, give details. So I didn't know there were concerns, I mean, amongst a certain group of my friends. So one day we were just hanging out and they're like, hey, you know, chick, have you heard about cultists that they'll just go and get somebody, you know, unsuspecting, like a Kenyan who doesn't know much, and then, you know, either they will use them for sacrifice to get rich, or or sometimes, you know, they'll just do strange rituals to them. And I'm like, oh really? Okay. And then another one goes like, haven't you heard? I'm like, what? You know, human trafficking. I'm like, oh really? So the person will get you, you know, they like you, and, you know, they'll traffic you or you know, get your organs and go. I'm like, okay. So somebody will take their time, come, you know, marry me, and then just get me for my kidneys. Okay, interesting. Another one, the usual one, scam. Like, look at you, you know, you're young, you have your life going for you, you have a great career and what have you. Haven't you heard of person A, person B? With great examples, by the way. Some things that had even happened to some of our friends, that a guy actually dated her for a whole year, you know, took loans up to, I think, 3 million or something. You know, he had, I don't know, importing a car from the UK and it was stuck, or I don't know, he had overstayed, and he needed to bribe 1 or 2 persons so that he's not, you know, deported back. So many things, you know, I mean, they're there. Another one, oh, haven't you heard of fraud? You know, these people will use you and use for credit card fraud and all that. I'm like, okay. So, you know, the thing is that we say that when you're mtu akatai mwito hukatai tiwalo. So I was like, okay, I know you guys are coming from an amazing place and all that, and I hear you, and yeah, that's what it is. It's like, okay, so are you breaking up with this guy? I'm like, but you guys have not even asked me about this person and who is and what have you. Said, then they're like, no, it doesn't matter, as in these people, some of them, like, we don't have a problem with him, you know. No, they've not said that. It's not him, but what about other people? What if you go there and you get kidnapped? You know, I think they read on the news about Boko Haram. I mean, really sad things happen in Nigeria. Like, oh, you know, kwanza you're a foreigner, and you know, that if they kidnap you, they can ask for, you know, heavy ransom. I'm like, okay, yeah. So they were like very clear. They hadn't met my husband yet, really, but the first impression is always Nigerians are like this, Nigerians are like that. And then now, of course, because, I mean, they respect me, they know I can't link up with somebody, you know, who is fishy. They'll be like, oh, not him, but the people in his country. So, as it was, according to them, it was a bad idea. Not because of the person, you know, but because of, you know, the Nigerian tag. And I feel like, you know, it's really unfair to really, you know, put people in this one basket and say all these things about them, especially if you haven't lived among them, you don't know them. I mean, with a country of over 200 million people, I mean, are they all demons? Are they all bad? You know, are they all cultists? Are they all scammers? Are they all human traffickers? You know, it can't be that bad. I mean, but let's be honest, there is quite a number of interesting things that have come from Nigerians, but I mean, we can't make the exception become like the norm, you know. It can't be like out of 200 million people, 190 are bad, you know, maybe it's just 10 million, and because they are spread across, and because, you know, negativity sells, you know, I mean, negativity sells. So I mean, yeah, that was mostly the reaction from my friends. Now when it came to my family, that was quite interesting. First and foremost, I'm the only girl, right? I have 6 brothers. Super protective, like super protective. First and foremost, don't even say Nigerian man, say man. Problem, wahala, you know. From when I was young, you know what my neighbors used to say? Pauline will never get married. One of the brothers will never allow Pauline get married. I mean, it was so bad when I was growing up that there are boys that were beaten just because of looking at me, you know. Or they looked at me wrong, you know, maybe I'm going to the shop or somewhere. Then one of my, especially a particular brother, will just hear, so and so is looking at your sister, problem, wahala, you know, bad. Like, it was really bad, you know. How did you look at my sister and what have you? There was such a bad case. I remember when I was I think straight out of high school. I know you've grown a bit and what have you. So there was a place that some boys used to sit, and I think I was passing, either going to, you know, church, I don't know, somewhere. And one guy said, hey, Pauline, scusa me, Ivana. So I didn't even know the meaning of that at that time. When my brother had, it was raw. It was so bad that it ended up being like a police case. Like, it was really bad, because yeah, there was a really bad fight. So the long and short of it is that my brother's hearing a man, leave alone Nigerian, now Nigerian. So I had to be very tactful. I didn't quite tell them, and to be very, when I tell you how I told them, you'll see I'm a bit crazy too, but you have to be wise, because you know how it is. So I mean, I'd been going to, you know, Nigeria here and there. Of course, I didn't always tell them, but my brothers assumed that it was work. You know, anytime I traveled, they always thought it was work. I mean, you know, and they hadn't seen me with somebody per se. I think they'd never seen me just with one person in my life before. So they weren't thinking anything. They were just thinking, Pauline is fine. I think she'll be the single, you know, rich auntie to our children, the rich sister or something. So in their minds, there was no talk of a man. And I mean, I was already in 30s, so I think they had already settled in their minds that, you know, Pauline is fine, you know, she's okay, and if there's anything, she'll tell us. But there was never going to be a man that was, you know, good enough for their, you know, for their sister. So when you're saying Nigerian man, you better be careful. So anyway, so what I did is that so we courted, my husband and I courted, and then he was coming in December, right? So he came to December to Nairobi in December to spend Christmas, and also just to know Kenya, and you know, so we can spend time together and meet my family. So all this time, my brothers don't know I'm dating, and more so, they don't know that I'm dating a Nigerian man. So what happens? I do a soft launch. That's what we call a soft launch. You know, when you're doing a mega launch, you scream and you shout. I did a soft launch. So I introduced him to my friendlier brothers. Alone. So the first one was in person, like, oh yeah. All of a sudden, so I asked my brother, where are you? He told me he was at Yaya. I was like, okay, I'm coming by. This was 24th December, thereabouts, I can't remember. Like, where are you? I'm at Yaya. Okay, I'm coming over. So we link up. That's our firstborn. Very quiet guy, very sober guy. I'll tell him, oh, by the way, this is Abiola, and he has come for Christmas, and he's my boyfriend. Like, okay, he has come all the way from Nigeria. Okay. And it's like, okay, your boyfriend. Okay. Nice to meet you, Abiola. How is Nigeria? They talk like they know each other. So we have, I think, coffee, and you know, they talk generally, and they seem to be vibing. Me, I go to the ladies and said, okay, let me come back and see if they'll have stabbed each other with the folks at Java. Then I come back. But anyway, I find them talking and all that. So when we were now leaving, of course, I talked to my brother a bit. I'm like, okay. It's like, hey, he told me, when him normal, as he knew, you're smart. Yani, you ambushed me like this, I said, no. I was like, you know how it is. Then he was like, no, he's a nice guy, very calm, you know, I like him. I can't see anything wrong. And my brother knows, I mean, he has dealt with a lot of Nigerians. I mean, he's not a young boy. He has dealt with them, you know, throughout his life, you know, work-wise, in the course of, you know, life and all that. Especially, you know, that Yaya, Kilimani area, he was working in that area, so he has seen them. He said, no, there's something about this guy and he's okay. Then another brother of mine, very nice guy, you know, we used to really hang out a lot with him. So I tell him, okay, but he might tell me in advance, like, okay, my boyfriend is around, and so he was like, a boyfriend. I'm like, how long have you been dating? I told him, for the whole year. Okay, and you've never told me, like, oh, you know, he's not from here. He's like, from where? Like, he asked me, is he from the US? I'm like, oh, you want me to marry a white man? He's like, no. I mean, I'm just thinking. I told him, okay, guess which country, African? He thinks South Africa, because at some time, there's a time I was in South Africa for work. I said, no. I tell him it's Nigerians, like, oh, okay. I tell him, why the reaction's like, no, it's okay, let me meet him. I know you, I trust you, I know, you can't go and get mixed up with some funny people. So like, okay, let's meet. So we meet in town, can't remember where, but probably Java, I'm not sure. So we meet and we, you know, we have coffee. Again, I take my time, I go to the washrooms, I even make a call. I'm just taking time to see again what will happen. And I find them and they're talking and they're laughing, and I'm like, interesting. So let's ask my brother, what's up? Like, he's a cool guy, my spirit is calm. My brother is, that particular brother is a pastor. So like, oh no, my spirit is calm. He's okay, he seems like a nice chap, he seems like a nice guy, I like him. You met him? Oh, I tell you, oh, okay, okay, it's fine. So how long is he around? I tell him he'll be around, he'll be back in January. So like, oh, okay. Then now, the next one. That brother of mine is like, he's our second born. So I tell him, okay, I'm coming over to your house and I'm bringing a guest. So if you're from Kikuyu, when you say you're bringing a friend or you're bringing mgeni, or I think it's a Kenyan thing, like nakuja na mgeni, I'm coming with a guest. It's not like I'm coming with my friend, like my girlfriend, you know. So the hint was there. I was like, okay, where is he from? Have I met him? I said, no, you're not. Who have you ever met? He said, okay, I've not met anybody. It's like, okay. By the time you're bringing him, like, how long have you known him? I said, we've been together for a long time, but during this year, but I've known him for quite a while. Like, okay, Anaitwa, what's his name? I'm like, Abiola. He's like, Abiola? You know how Kenyans say. I'm like, yeah, he's not Kenyan. It's from Nigeria. It's like, okay. I'm like, yeah. So yeah, we're coming to your house for dinner. Like, okay, what do you want him to be made for? Like, whatever, but yeah, just, you know, fish would be fine and what have you. It's like, because I know my brother likes fish. And so anyway, we go. My brother is not home, he was caught up in traffic, and you know, we get there. Guys, they eat fish, they bond, we're good, it's time for leaving. It's like, you guys, what time, why are you leaving? And it was around 11, so it went well. So we didn't talk, he didn't give me any feedback, but my brother is very, you can read his face. So I was like, okay. Anyway, long and short of it is that my brothers, because they are way older than me, you know, they won't want to disappoint me, but also he's a good man, so a good man is a good man. So anyway, that went that way. But then now what happened is that my husband was spending his birthday is in January, and they actually share a birthday with another brother of mine that I would not have gone to introduce him one-on-one, because that brother and me, we are fire, you know. He's the one I follow, we are best friends, and we are but him, nobody is good enough for his sister, you know. So what happens is that I tell my brothers, like, okay, you guys, let's have dinner. So we choose a place in Lavington for dinner, and I say, everybody come with your wives, come with everybody. And we are a large family, so we're almost like 20 people. It's like, okay, you know, your land is called us, so you're paying. So of course my brothers normally would pay, but you know, they always like, you're paying, you're calling us, okay. But they didn't quite know, I didn't tell them that my husband was still around. But the thing is that I was actually also surprising my husband for his birthday dinner. So we go to Lavington, I've done a reservation. all my brothers come, and because my brother shares a birthday, it was quite interesting because everybody's like, oh, finally we get to meet, because January, I mean, who wants to meet who? We've met in December, everyone is busy sending their kids to school. So we sit down, and my husband is sitting at the end of the table. I mean, it's his birthday. So my brother comes and say, okay. But you remember, like, I'd done like a soft launch for the other ones, so I've put them near me, you know. So we sit down, we eat, and then we cut the cake and we sing. Then my husband now, of course, they've been talking all through, and of course we've murmured and said, oh, this is Pauline's person, Pauline, this is Pauline's person, and what have you. So now my husband, by the way, there was too much testosterone on that table. So I mean, he's a man, so he says, okay, so I'm so happy to meet all of you, and I just wanted to say thank you for your warm reception, and the truth of the matter is that in a few months I'm marrying your sister, and I'll be taking her to Nigeria. So yeah, we had discussed it, but then, you know, when he says it, you're like, oh shit. It's like, oh, you're married? Okay, yeah, we're actually doing a wedding by the end of April, and there soon after she'll be moving to Nigeria. So me, I'm pinching my husband. It's like, okay, be go slow, like, don't just drop these bombshells like this, like you're just you're giving it to them back to back, like, you know, calm down. It's like, no, you know, with men we are straightforward, you know, we just say it. Then, oh, my brother like, oh, okay, I think they've mastered poker faces. But I think by the time I did soft landings, of course, also being smart, because I knew word will, you know, they'll do a softer launch for the ones that I'm not already told. So now everyone is on board. It's like, okay, isn't that too soon? So this was January, like April, 3 months. Like, you know how weddings are done in our culture. So you have to go, come. Like, my husband is like, okay, you know where we are young. First and foremost, resource-wise, I can't keep flying back and forth, you know, with my family to have this discussion. So what we'll do is that sometime in April, because my family will come and we can do, you know, everything towards the wedding. My brother like, okay, you know, there's still time, you know, we can discuss. And said, okay. But my husband is family, like, anyway, by end of April anyway, we are going to have a wedding, and we've actually decided on a date, and he tells them we're getting married on the last Saturday of April. Like a wedding, a proper wedding. They're like, now silence, you know. Like, this is January, and by the end of April there's a wedding, and a proper one. And then he goes on and says that, you know, I'm going to marry your sister properly, you're going to have a proper wedding, we're going to have everything, like, you don't need to worry about anything. All I'm asking is for your acceptance and your blessing, because I know your mom is late, and the brothers, and, you know, please just allow me, you know, I've loved your sister for a long time, and this is what it is. So I was like, okay. So all my brothers are married, please note. And nobody did a wedding in like 3 months, and they were all in the country, so they were not seeing the practicability of it. So that's when they were like, this Nigerian man is too ambitious, you know, he's very ambitious. How are you doing a wedding in like 3 months? How is this even possible? So anyway, we have a good time, we stay past midnight, so things were good, because if things were not good, this thing would have ended within 1 hour. As people in our family, we don't play. We're very straightforward. So anyway, we do the birthday. My husband now has to go back a few days. After that, he goes back to Nigeria. Kidogo, my brothers are like, one Saturday, we are coming over. Boo, make for us, there's some food that I used to make for them. Make for us, we are coming. Like, who and who is coming? It's a Saturday. Yeah, we'll be there from 2. We are all coming. So they come. I think it was a Saturday or 2 after that, actually, yeah. So they come like, Bana, hey, that story, man, you ambushed us, eh? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, you guys, when I give you 10 years notice, 5 years notice, or 1 year, you people will still say the same thing, that I've ambushed you. Like, you guys, but it's not like that. I mean, look at me. I'm a big girl now. It's about time. So, of course, we go over the usual, like, how long have you known this person? How do you know this person? You know, those things. Like, okay. So, Yanni, okay. So, this has been going on for us. Oh, why didn't you say, like, you know, you don't announce the food until it's on the table, you know. And that's the same moves that we make in our family. You will never know who my brothers are dating until it's almost wedding time. It's only one brother of mine, I mean our last born, that we knew was dating. He dated somebody for quite some time and, you know, ended up marrying. But it's other brothers of mine, you see a chick for like, you know, some time, and then kidogo they are married. But you know, they are older, so I mean, most of them got married when I was still, you know, young. So I mean, we don't question each other like that. So I kind of did what they did. Like, no, you know, you can't do like that. You're a chick. As we are men, we can do that. I said, you know what, sorry, but well, here it is. Here are the rings. I had my 3 diamond rings, you know. And they're like, okay. Now, you know, we have to tell the elders. Anyway, that's a story for another day. But long and short of it, soon after that, we had a larger family meeting. And of course, the interesting reactions were basically that it's too soon. So I'm thinking, I'm here over 30. I mean, I know myself. I have lived alone since I was, I think, 20. I mean, surely. I mean, what's up? You can't tell someone to be coming and going. It's not like they live in Langata. They'll just be coming. No, this is a person that has to be traveling. You know, he's also still young. I mean, he's working, so he has legit money. It's not like he has money. You know, he has money that is coming from places that are, you know, he's a responsible person who has a salary, so he has to plan himself. So anyway, long and short of it, the concerns were the same, but the most important thing is that on 28th April, we did get married. One very beautiful wedding. My husband gave me a beautiful, beautiful wedding. The other interesting reaction, of course, the person I had to be very careful about was also my grandma. So my grandmother, the one I'm named after. So it's a very big deal for me to get married, especially because I'm the oldest. She's Pauline 1, I'm Pauline 2. So at that time, she was staying in Naivasha, our Ushago. So twice I went, and I never told her, because I'm like, how do I tell her? So I'd go, and then I'd put a Nigerian movie, you know. I'd just put on a Nigerian movie, and then we'd watch. You know, the beauty of Nairobi and Naivasha, 1 hour you're there. So you know, go put a Nigerian movie, you know, if it's a happy one, you know, because the ones that most of these Nigerian, I think on Go TV or Iraq or somewhere. So I would look for a specific happy Nigerian movie, you know, where there's, you know, nice weddings or nice things. Because let's be honest, most of the Nigerian movies most Kenyans have watched are these ones of witchcraft, of Mama G mistreating, you know, mistreating their in-law, you know, that kind of thing. So I look for the nice ones, and she'd be very, very excited and all those things, you know. So I just was doing soft landing. I went to Naivasha once, twice, the third time. Then one day that I told just all that, so you know, now I'm a big girl, and it's about time I got married. And then I said, who are you marrying, and what have you, who is marrying you? And I was like, I won't tell you, but my the name starts with O. Hey, what are my auntie over her? Okay, by auntie, I'm not saying my auntie, but you know, in Ushago, everybody's your auntie. So I think one of, you know, those people was passing there. She had O. Do you know she screamed? She screamed. She said, "Oh, oi, Modani, Aganera, I'm getting married to." I'm sorry, please, and don't take this in any tribalistic way. And as I said, this is not my auntie, like relative. It's like, you know, in the village, you know, everybody's your auntie. That's how we refer to each other. So anyway, she said that I'm marrying an Omondi or something. There's nothing wrong with marrying an Omondi or an Otieno or a Kamba or a Meru person to me, or a Turkana or Kipsigis. Honestly, if you vibe, you vibe. Hey, she now said that, yeah. So me, I said, I'm not going to correct her. I didn't say who we're marrying or whatever. So my shosho was like, of course she was like, no, I mean, we are past those days. These are not long time ago. I mean, we are free to marry whoever we choose to marry. Plus, I'm an exposed person. I'm traveled. I mean, I can marry whoever I want to marry. She trusts my decision. So now this auntie went to tell other aunties in the village. And as I said, when I say auntie, I don't mean my blood relatives. A village is a village. Everybody's your auntie. That's Africa, you know. So anyway, that was the thing, that I'm marrying an Obondi or something. I said, I'm going to leave it at that. Anyway, a few, like, let's say March, I went back, and now I told I'm marrying somebody from Nigeria. Now, that auntie also seemed to be close by. She now started, oh, Nigerians, have you not seen in the movies witchcraft? Well, you know those old movies of Mama G, like long time ago, those ones that have people, you know, please, Nigeria is wide. I wish people just knew how and how many cultural, you know, groups are there, you know, how many tribes are there. So I mean, she started saying that even it's better even now Monty than a Nigerian. Wow, you people, reactions, reactions. It was a shock. Hey, I said, you don't want me to marry a Monty? You don't want me to marry a Nigerian? What's the big deal? My grandmother was okay. She was like, I trust you and I know you. You're me. You love people and you know yourself. Please, just bring him when he comes to Kenya. Let's meet him. Anyway, long and short of it, that was the thing. Another friend now, this is funny, I forgot to mention it earlier. Another friend now went to ask another Nigerian friend about, because she asked, where will you guys be staying? I told her. When she Googled, she couldn't find much about the state that we're staying in. Now, my husband was doing very important work in that state. There's some projects he was running there. He was leading there. So it's like, oh my God, Yani, you're leaving Nairobi to go to which state? Like, do you have to? And this Nigerian friend of mine tells me that if you're not living in Lagos or in Abuja, you're not living anywhere. As anyone else is, man, their reactions were horrible. You people, their reactions were horrible. If I didn't know myself, it would have been a abort mission, but I didn't, because honestly, I believe you can marry anybody from anywhere. So you Kenyans are marrying Chinese people and having children by them. Anyway, nowadays the world is a global village. Anybody can marry anybody. If you want to marry somebody from Timbuktu, if it actually exists, fine. I have a friend who actually married somebody from Iceland, of all places, you know, and she's happy and she's thriving, and you know. So anyway, those were the most interesting reactions. I've really tried to water them down because some of them can come off interestingly. But anyway, long and short of it, not all Nigerians do witchcraft. Not all Nigerians are scammers. Not all Nigerians are human traffickers. Not all of them are cultists, you know. No, please. It's the same thing. We can't say all Kenyans are, you know, all the above things. Anybody can be those things regardless of where they come from or who they are. So those were the most interesting reactions. So anyway, please keep it here. This is in Kenya, Nigeria. I'll be coming to you with stories from Nigeria as a Kenyan who has lived here for more than 5 years. Thank you very much, good people. Stay good. Bye. Okay.